Hello everyone and welcome to part 2 of Killing Time Resurrected. So last time I didn't get to comment much on the various events we were seeing, but a number of those not only explained the story, and some of them also explained some background stuff and information a bit, but also does more of the fun in-world universe explanation of the enemies, like the butler mentioned the chefs being temperamental, and the prohibitionists being locked in the wine cellar. That wasn't just a throwaway information. That is a legitimate thing that has happened. So we're going to be going into the wine cellar at some point. Yeah, I think we actually do that in this part fairly soon. And just using the map to navigate this area, because even though it's small, it's still just a tiny bit. Oh yeah, what I was technically doing here was I was trying to relocate a secret, because there was a special secret around. Yeah, I think I couldn't quite remember what key color I had, so I was double checking that real quick. Yeah, it's like I have the orange key. I don't have the yellow key. That's specifically violet, and yeah, it specifically flashes on the left wing which slot will be filled at some point, and yeah, the yellow green key is the very bottom slot. The green key is right above it. Let's hop over there, and yeah, I realized, yeah, I didn't actually venture down the center part, which is where a super secret is. That's where we use the yellow orange key.
Hey, gorgeous. How you do?
Hiya, Mikey. Caught any intruders?
Nah, but I wouldn't mind catching a little redhead.
Ah, knock it off, Mike.
Sorry, I just hate to see a beautiful dame go to waste.
You think I'm beautiful?
Are you kidding? You are a goddess. You are like a moonbeam. You're like the stars. You're like scrambled eggs. Sorry, I just love scrambled eggs.
Just wish Duncan felt the same way.
Hey, you don't want to get mixed up with Duncan. Besides, I thought he and Tess were going to get married.
Oh, Tess won't marry anybody. She doesn't have to. She already has everything she wants.
That's the truth.
What?
Nothing. How about a drink?
Ooh, I'd love one. Every bottle in this house is empty.
Well, I know where Duncan keeps a little stash. Oh, you better bundle up. It's going to be getting cold.
More world building.
She was such a sweet child. I raised her. I kept her from harm. And now this rapscallion enters the picture and I'm swept aside after 20 years of service. This would have never happened if Dr. and Mrs. Conway were still alive. They should have never gone on that safari. Well, I can't live in the past.
We heard about that in the last part.
You'll never believe this, but one of the maids mistook Miss Conway's Egyptian clock for a vase. She put flowers in it and filled the thing with water. It leaked all over the place. It's got more holes than Swiss cheese. We're just lucky the water didn't damage the floor.
Good Lord. Tess would be furious. You know, I think she loves that clock more than Duncan.
Yes, I've noticed that her interest in Mr. DeVries has waned since he obtained the clock for her.
You don't think there's a connection, do you? Oh, poor Duncan.
Yeah, we pretty much got confirmation that, oh, there's the chefs. We'll hurl meat cleavers at you. Ow, got, yeah, took one right. You can, I didn't demonstrate very well, but you can avoid the shots if you know how to actually duck behind the counters and stuff, and also weave around the shots, because I don't precise when you're definitely straight behind you, but otherwise, and they set off a lot of the Molotov cocktails around the shelves here. That's why you saw fire and stuff. Yeah, that fire will never go up. Yes, give me these. So, let's see here. Yeah, this here is a distinctive little section because in here, just a second, double checking. Yeah, this here requires the red key. And I forget which number. That also requires the red key. He was hiding in here somewhere, and the red key is right there. And technically don't want to go down there quite yet. Snag the red key. And this brings us to seemingly a almost useless little spot, but it's actually kind of relevant for later. Although there is something that we can get right now. Yeah, it's like this here, and we technically get this spot from another area of the mansion, which we'll go over later, but in here, we hop inside, is another sort of little kitchen spot that's full of chefs and maids. The succubus maids specifically, not the other ones. But also there are those bugs in here as well. Which the aiming of the Molotovs is a little bit tricky, but I managed to get some good shots there. Although sometimes they just don't want to die to it very well. I don't have much flamethrower around to use. Let's see, and yeah, we finally get some more. Get some of the bigger fuel canisters to fill up our flamethrower tank, which is kind of necessary. Managed to pick these up, and here is the melee weapon that they almost had in the PC port, but didn't get to finish, the knife, which is obviously the 3DO knife, as we can see here. It has the ability to instantly kill an enemy if you manage to come up on them from behind. But the enemy layout is not really designed where that can be used very much. But it is much better than using the crowbar at this point. Although, not really the best enemies to use it on right now. I demonstrate it better later. And here we find the violet key. And this opens up a little secret way over back into the ballroom area.
Help me.
So yeah, just have to go maneuver myself back around, see if I can collect some ammo. Still don't have the... Yeah, I don't know why I went back checking all the other keys, because I didn't pick up the other keys right away. But yeah, I don't want to pop into that upper room yet, because it feels just too early to actually pop in there.
Help me. Help me.
Yeah, I haven't picked up any of the green keys yet.
Help me.
So yeah, it's like there is a...
Help me.
Yeah, with the way the keys work is there's a solid color of a key, and then there is a sort of a transitional color of a key in some cases. But yeah, now we're going to head down into the wine cellar. And here is a spot where I'm attempting to not trigger as many of the succubus as possible. I don't know, it's just a weird thing that I feel like doing, where technically, yeah, it makes sense that you don't want to have to kill too many of the enemies if you don't want to waste the ammo, but the enemies that do get in your way, like the... I'm surprised I really didn't... Well, some of them are aggroing, but in some of those cases, even though I killed him, like right next to a couple of the others, they didn't agitate. And then full up on the Molotovs. Oh, he just took the knife from the back of his pocket, and he set off the... It's funny, they can sometimes set off the cocktails on their own while they're right next to them. Yeah, like basically I want to clear out the chefs. Because they really are the most dangerous compared to an enemy that is not very dangerous, but only can be under certain circumstances. And don't need that pickup right now. Full up on the regular bullets. And I think I clear out all the chefs at this point. And yeah, it's like, I don't know, for some reason the maids do look a bit better with these graphics compared to the original PC version, because they are a PC exclusive enemy. And now we're actually in the actual area with the prohibitionists now, and they don't chuck the Molotovs specifically, they just chuck empty bottles at you, but they will drop the Molotovs, which can be tricky because of the fact is that you can accidentally set them off when they die. Yeah, I accidentally set myself on fire there. Hordes are really annoying still. And I got nailed straight in the face. Yeah, the enemies that actually throw projectiles, they feel a little tricky to actually dodge the projectiles compared to other games. It's more or less the timing of the throw and stuff that I feel like makes it a little bit trickier compared to others. Like it's a lot easier to dodge a imp fireball than it is some of these here, but I think that's also because the fact is that the projectiles here travel at a much faster rate. And having encountered these guys in a while, we're back to the gamesters. So yeah, that brings me back to one of the points I was addressing earlier, that you only encounter enemies in specific areas, and some you do encounter multiple times, but it always feels like it's a very fitting spot. There it is. Yeah, in order to get across there to actually get an important item, you have to activate specific switches, and this here is a bit of a mazy area, so you can get lost in, and so the fixed map makes that a lot easier to figure out. You don't have to check every single one of these kegs in order to find the switch, because sometimes if you check the map, you'll actually see the interactable parts of the map, so you will know what to look for. But typically, sometimes you can have a good idea depending on just how the map is set up a tiny bit. Oh yeah, that was a point I was going to try and make previously, was that compared to the original PC version, a lot of the mandatory secrets were not very obvious at all, while Night Dive has fixed that considerably, where secrets are a lot more obvious to interact with or use. Like, again, that pillar was basically identical to all the other ones in the area with the one key we found earlier. And don't know why I went back to the pistols here, but give them some usage. And now we have fully made well, not quite fully made yet. Yeah, that's me checking which one. Remember that? Yeah, here it is, right over here. Now we've fully completed the bridge. Technically, we were able to jump the gap, but I figured just make the whole bridge anyway. And because that one wall dropped down over here, we have a little bit of shortcut in order to get the actual blue key. No, wait, no, it's green blue key. It looks flat blue and not very green in color, but eh. So yeah, it's me just checking the route a little bit more now, heading into another section, which leads us. One thing I've I missed one of the... I ended up looking briefly around for a little bit, but I did miss in the area that was above here. I missed the one particular... technically another Robert interaction, which gave us some context for down here. And it's minor and not mandatory, but still, it's just interesting world building to experience nonetheless. Yeah, one interesting thing is that this here is sort of an unusual observation, but whereas, say, enemies actually more or less make the appropriate sounds that you would expect them to in regards to the 3D actors, when all the PC version enemies all sounded like dudes. I think maybe barring the succubus maid, I think she didn't. Those were the only ones that actually sounded like women, because, like, for some reason, like, the bigger maid and the prohibitionists here, they all just made male grunt noises and stuff when they're attacking and being hit and killed. Yeah, that would have not been possible in the PC version where I just did hopping across the gaps like that, because the jumping was kind of... I think it was because of how old the game is, and trying to get it to run in DOSBox makes it behave funny. So therefore you just leap up in one frame and drop down instantly in another, so you don't have any arcing momentum, so to speak. And that's where we need to go next, but there's one secret I want to find out here. Ow. Nothing's more jarring than getting hit square in the back when you least expect it. But then, even though the prohibitionists are making those funny noises, it's hard to keep track. Yeah, here. Ow. Hornets. Yeah, I don't want to waste that pickup there for that stupid damage I took. But I will try to come back for that later to get that. I think, yeah, maybe we'll see. Yeah, but that helps pick up, and they'll pick up these gas canisters. So now it's time to go into here. Warriors are nasty little buggers, but they thankfully take very little to take down if you manage to hit them with a direct, proper shot. And yeah, I'm just double checking because the underground passages can be a little bit confusing, and yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I actually covered everything. And you can't open this door. I thought you could, but you actually can't. It's just literally decoration. Counter more gangsters and the big brutes again. Pegged into a corner a little bit there. Take him down. That opens up a passage to more or less a quicker route to get through the area.
I say, Robert, you haven't been meddling with my specimens, have you?
What specimens were these, Mr. Fleming?
In particular, my dung balls.
You mean those little clots of manure?
Those clots of manure, as you call them, were once pushed by the scarab beetles of Amun-Ra.
Well, they have ample followers now.
Why do you say that?
I dispatched them to the sewer.
Would you get me a plunger, Robert?
I would not think that would be relevant, but that actually rather is relevant in regard to what we'll be encountering down there. And that made me kind of realize at this point, so I kind of just meander around a little bit trying to find that other missing Robert encounter that I mentioned a little bit ago before I went down there, because I realized that you were supposed to encounter him earlier, but yeah. So yeah, I ended up wandering aimlessly around trying to see if I could relocate it, forgetting that encounter, although I did find this secret, which is that, well, it's less of a secret, but it's a area that is, I think, might be affected by a difficulty, because, at least in this version, because that would be a teleporting maze, but it takes us to a ammo cache and another Ankh to use, which is helpful to get as many of those as you can. Because, yeah, there are more than you can carry, so you want to get the max count and try and use them within specific sections where there's absolutely insane enemy count.
Help me.
Like, I was looking around trying to see if I could find it again, but I think around this point I realized, forget it, I'll just head on down and progress. Which I have to say that the PC version of this enemy type that we encountered down here is absolutely tame in the PC version, because they are so slow and only really do anything if they get right on top of you. They are actually a bit more menacing in the... Matter of fact, there it is right now. Because they actually have a projectile attack. So, and they have something that end up showing off at least a couple... Right, there it is right there. It's a fake death animation where you think you killed it, but you actually hadn't. And they're the only enemy that do that because of their... these here are just very unusual enemies to fight, but then, like, there's only one other area that has these guys, and it's, again, in a spot that makes sense that they would show up there. Like, yeah, you also mentioned that there's scarab beetles, so we actually have scarab beetles down here, too. But yeah, these guys belch energy at you they are a very bizarre enemy type. But while there isn't actually anything technically there are some stuff to click down here, but the major stuff that we want to actually get is actually past here. But may as well clear this area out in the process while trying to collect these items. Yeah, so when I get low on the shotgun, I start to use the Thompson a bit more, which can stun lock enemies, but it's not consistent. Enemies can still get an attack off on you. And when you're not expecting it, it's almost impossible to dodge that energy ball. So many of these guys. Yeah, better to pull out the shotgun at this point because I picked up an ample amount of ammo again. That's that's just a more personal gripe than anything than an actual fault, but I kind of wish that you could find a ammo increase like in Doom, where, say, if you find a backpack, you get increased ammo capacity for all weapons. I kind of wish you could experience that here, but then because of the fact that you are using only a single shot shotgun rather than, and there is no double barrel to speak of, it's 50 shells is fine. Because you don't have the double barrel shotgun that would eat through the shells a lot faster until you get the backpack. And that's me forgetting that the game actually uses a little bit of extra pathing for those little miniature waterways that are underneath the walls, kind of. So it makes you think there's something there, but really that's just the way the graphical architecture. Oh yeah, that's right. The most important thing was to actually get the yellow key, which gives us access to that one floor upstairs finally. Then we just circled all the way around, so head down another level. Down here we don't really find anything except for I think just one of the other power-ups that the vessels can give you in brief pickup form, which is rather useful. I think it's a illumination stone, because the game is very dark by default. It's like I can see well enough to be able to get the enemies and stuff. It's very dark down here, but like even outside it's kind of dark. But whereas say in the more properly lit areas of the mansion you can actually see what's going on, whereas here it's both dark and hazy down here, so it makes it a little bit tougher to see these guys. Ooh. Ow. Didn't catch that guy came up on me. Yeah. Disgusting mess. One thing is that at least it's unique that the game, because tripping over my words, is that besides there being health pickups, I just realized that they don't actually, there is no like medical kits or anything. You just get these magical healing spheres that are both just floating around the place, and the fact that the enemies themselves can drop these healing items makes killing enemies even more worth it in the sense. So like if you've taken a beating, there is a chance that the last few enemies you kill will drop at least a good couple of healing items for you. Because I think it's also affected both by the difficulty and how much health you have. I might be totally talking nonsense, but possibly going over there triggers these guys, but I think the lower your health is and you're managing to kill a bunch of enemies, the more frequently a health pickup will show up. So like say if I'm like 30 or so percent HP, that'll actually drop the healing items a bit more frequently. It's like, even though I'm at 100%, they'll still drop it once in a while, but I think the frequency increases just a tiny bit if you've taken a bit of a beating. Don't quote me on that, but I might be just imagining it. Scarab beetles aren't too much of a threat compared to I think it's due to how wide open this area is, so therefore you're able to see them coming a lot easier. They tend to fly straight at you rather than try and ooh, almost picked that up when I didn't want to. But yeah, like those scarab beetles, because of the fact that this area is more wide open and with no obstructions besides technically some of the pillars, but even then they still fly just straight at you and don't really zigzag like too much. It's a lot easier to take them down than the wasps, who I swear fly around a bit more erratically and can come up on you because they get around certain obstacles that you can't a lot easier. Well, for some reason, sometimes they take more shots than you would think they would take. Yeah, checking my overall position. And now we can actually progress where we need to go, which is down here. Which leads us to a very unique location. Yeah, I just wanted to let the atmosphere soak in a little bit there, because this type of setup here, you know, like walking out on this hidden dock towards a hidden temple that's on a tiny island next to the main island here, is very much a beautiful, unique feature that sadly the 3DO was not able to do, because this type of temple doesn't even exist, I don't think, in the original. So yeah, there's definitely a winged vessel hidden right here, but it's taken away from us right away, and these guys show up, and they're kind of a variation of the other floating heads, although they kind of attack semi-infrequently, but then eventually they will, sometimes they'll attack very rapidly. They have a very different behavior, and remember that one of these, yeah, those are where we need to go, but I'm trying to find where that switch is. That's, I think it was hidden in one. No, I know it's in one of those rooms. There we go, I had to check. Yeah, that switch opens up the way for us to head on down here. Then we encounter another new enemy type, the skeleton, whom shows up in quite a few spots, actually. They're also fireball throwers. There's basically only one single hit scan enemy, and that's the gangsters, while we have like a ton of fireball spitters and throwers in this game. These Anubis heads they're not super tough, but I swear they feel harder to hit for some reason. Like, even though I'm aiming, like, say, dead on, I swear my shots miss more often than hit. And this opens up another divine health drink, which is useful. You basically never not want to pick those up. I guess, hey, 200 health is 200 health. This here is why the Phoenix Egg gives you immunity to fireballs, so therefore the skeletons in these heads are now effectively useless against us, to where I can just take the knife and kill them that way and save ammo, because I don't have to worry about taking any damage from these guys, because they don't have any melee attacks. Yeah, they have basically no health compared with... Well, it's not that they don't have no health, but it's like, again, the knife does a lot more damage than the crowbar. Yeah, that guy got super aggressive. So it's not that they can't spam fireballs, it's just that they're very picky on when they will. This passage, I think I either missed it or it opened up, right? This area is a little bit confusing now that I ran out of the Phoenix Egg. I just went back to gunning. Yeah, I was just getting a little bit confused because sometimes the map just doesn't quite actually update visually, so it's like, okay, I'm just being dumb.
Help me.
So this area has actually two important pickups in it, and have to admit I've forgotten one of them because I don't know why I forgot it, because typically I was a lot more thorough in this area, so therefore I never missed anything. But in this case, I guess, quote-unquote LP virus, I forgot during recording here. But yeah, this area is really a hairy place to be in all of the skeletons and these particular guys, because these are the really super aggressive fire spitters. Just nasty, disembodied ghost heads. Yeah, it would have been handy if I were able to get another Phoenix egg and come down there, but yeah, it didn't quite work out that way. And these tight corridors, it's possible, but very tricky to actually, especially in a case like that, it's very tricky to actually avoid any of the projectiles thrown at you. This is certainly useful, the infinite ammo. So in this case, I would do this, definitely the smart thing, just whip out the flamethrower and start flaming. Although sadly I don't get to use a whole lot of it because a lot of the enemies are dead. Although I managed to get used around here. There we go. I actually got pinned to that place. Yeah, I want to try and save flamethrower ammo a bit because, again, it's better to use that on the enemies that are exclusively very weak to it compared to all the other weapon types. Yeah, hit that there, which opens up a decent little secret, but also I think that opened up where that definitely opened up where the winged vessel was taken to. Trying to make sure that I take care of every enemy in this area because it's just good principle to take out at least all, if not most of the enemies. I think this was... Oh yeah, that actually opened up that alternative exit to this area. And there it is. Sometimes these guys just feel like they don't want to take damage either sometimes. This is the Hands wing vessel. That's me more or less going around trying to collect some ammo that I think I might need.
Isis, wife of Osiris, daughter of Geb, and not hear my plea. Take the essence from my body and transfer it into these symbols, just as the parts of Osiris were scattered throughout Egypt. Osiris traveled the Nile sealed in a chest. So goes my heart in a similar box. Hear my words. Leap like a mouse running in the field of reeds. He who is Khepri at dawn, Ra at noon, Atum at nightfall.
More or less how the essence transfer was put into the winged vessels. And this is me sort of getting the sense that I might have been missing something, but then ultimately thought nothing of it and went for the exit. When at a distance like this, it's very easy to actually avoid these guys' attacks. But obviously, the closer they are, the harder it is to avoid such projectiles. And I'm trying to avoid blasting the cocktail boxes because even though I can't pick them up right now, it's still a pickup I would like to have still be present if I need it. And this here takes us right back to the entrance where we just entered from the sewers. So, yep, there's the temple right there. So that's just a very quick way back to the top. And I was strangely hooked on something, so I just managed to hop up the ledge. And there's no reason to wander around the sewers a whole lot, so yeah, it's better at this point now, just better to head straight back up. Yeah, you experience some brief loading times when you actually transition from area to area, but it's not bad. It's just only like a couple of seconds. Yeah, and due to the nature of this place, it's I just whip out the map so I know exactly where I'm going, because it looks kind of samey. Yep, just head on up here. Yeah, you only remember where that type of door is. The one that has all the colors on it and looks kind of obsidian in nature. With the yellow key in hand, we can actually head back upstairs and go into the other wing of the second floor of the estate here. And there's a stinking clown up here too. Technically the last area with the clowns. Yeah, kind of... The PC version had these guys more or less placed around in the context of them being used as projectile enemies, whereas the 3DO versions kind of lose that ability a bit because of the fact that the 3DO ones are specifically melee combatants. One of the only... Yeah, there's only like a small handful of actual melee enemies. Most of the ones are technically shooters. Oh yeah, I forgot that the other hit scanner is actually the or whatever these guys are. But yeah, like the other hit scanner are the huntsmen. I forgot that.
Stay away from...
Trying to brain myself trying to deal with these guys. And I just straight up killed myself. But this is where I demonstrate that you, even though I hadn't saved in quite a while, we hadn't lost any real meaningful progress because I had only just entered the area and barely lost any progress at all. So you get to see what I mentioned before in action. Yeah, the gangsters show up in quite a few number of areas on the estate, like around the estate and within the estate. Which would make sense given they're here to pick up the weapons that are around here, but... Now I'm gonna try and actually deal with this area better. Trying to get to where I can actually Not sure. Oh yeah, when the enemy dies, they too just burst into flames briefly.
Stay away from.
Trying. Yeah. Dying. Yeah. Having a hard time speaking. Looked like fire attacks were coming from this area, but I think we just finally cleared this little room out so we can actually help. There's one more. I would think a straight shotgun blasted place like that with one shot, but man.
Stay away from Tess. She's trouble. Real trouble. Duncan will tell you. Except, Duncan ain't what he used to be.
Now for interesting bit of trivia real quick. Like, obviously all of the spirit... that door actually... I think that door has a switch. But yeah, like, in regards to all of these past events and stuff like that, in some cases actual spirits actually talking to you, obviously a lot of positions were changed around from what they were in the original version. But two of the ones that really changed positions a bit were both one we just experienced and the one of where Tess first addresses us when we right in front of the mansion. Those two you actually get to encounter like straight away when you start up the 3DO version before you even encounter the storehouse instance where they're saying that the storehouse is full, so just put the weapons and ammo anywhere else around the island. Like you really encounter those two like right back to back next to each other, whereas here we actually get to. Oh yeah, we had already seen these ones. Yeah, it's like the clocks that we did will show exclusive events that are only tied to itself, but then we'll show certain ones that are actually around the estate. Like we definitely saw those two already. So certain clocks will give you some exclusives, but it'll also show you ones that you may have possibly missed, although not all of them. Like say the Robert one that I missed you can't view to any of the clocks, let alone the one that was mentioning what's in the sewers. But otherwise, the more important story ones those will actually are able to be viewed on certain clocks. No way they should be having set at the appropriate time. Yeah, dealing with those guys, much like that. I should have technically changed weapons, but didn't really have the time to. And the important reason that we want to hop into this floor is because this is where the next wing the nose. I forget which one does what, but yeah, like I literally stopped dead in my tracks when they managed to actually get me with that. I realized I actually wanted to pick up that so I could do less damage. Yeah, the clowns are just plain keepy and more of a nuisance than anything. Yeah, I was like, yeah, their tickling is frustrating, but at least it's better than, say, being bombarded by both hit scan and fireballs. Like, the game has enough fireball throwers as it is. We don't need another one. So, yeah, I've collected pretty much everything up here from, yeah, like that's both the east and west wings cleared on the second floor, although I still have other areas to clear, but this is where I realized that I made a mistake. But first, before I did fully realize my mistake, I rediscovered the hidden developer room that's in the game here, which has a picture of all of the... I'm not sure if this is all of the very original, but I know it's all out of the original developers, but I'm not sure which version people are, but if you touch all of their portraits, they give you a mixture of negative and good stuff. Like, in that case, I got some health and I got another Ankh pickup, and doing all this here makes all the weapons spawn that you made a clown appear. But the portraits either reward you or do something negative. But after running around for several minutes trying to find the key I was missing, I figured, let me double check if I can at least cover the western side of the island and go into the Metinicus Caverns. Because I know that the key, because I know that I missed the remaining keys inside of the estate still, but I couldn't remember if I had at least the correct color key to be able to finish up this section of the island. And even if I didn't, I at least cleared a path to it, so it would be a safer trip on the way back. And the only thing that's left out here are just a handful of ducks. None of the hunters or the dogs, which is helpful. Now I'm sort of trying to check around for any possible stuff that I might have missed or other helpful pickups that might be around. But yeah, this is the way to the caverns which I showed off previously. Evident by the fact that there's still enemies around here. Although they can get hung up on the geometry, they can get around it, as you can see there. I was hoping he wouldn't have gotten through, but he did. Whatever case, and where sometimes the enemy shots get hung up on the corners of the geometry, which is helpful for you to not get hit. So, like how, say, your flamethrower shots can get hung up on the geometry, so can enemy projectiles. So it's at least equal in that regard. And I do not want to go in there while that dog is in there. I'm trying not to. I was being dumb there, but still, it's. Jeez, the way they get in there sometimes can frighten you. Dealing with the ants is still trouble. Yeah, pick up some of the shells. And there's a upper walkway here which contains some stuff but not much. Yeah, trying to keep an ear out and eye out for these things is crucial in these areas. And technically speaking, if you want to actually have an idea for where important landmarks are, you do just follow the dirt path because they will lead you in the right direction. While going off the beaten path like this way will lead you towards items and technically a shortcut, as I realized. Though I'm just trying to make sure that I might not map out everything, but I want to make sure that I have at least most of it mapped out, so therefore I don't get confused. Yeah, thankfully he got stuck between two trees. Yeah, that's the advantage, as I tried to demonstrate there. You can shoot through these particular geometry. Now, with how the ammo is scattered around out here, you typically get back what you put out. More so if the enemies will drop like two types of ammo. They'll either drop their weapon, or sometimes they'll drop, I think, either the small or generally the large ammo boxes of the equivalent ammo type that they use. And that leads to the actual location in question. Just wanted to save ammo a little bit. This is where we start encountering some new enemies. A unusual ghost who shows up in quite a few other spots, not just these caves here. These darn bugs show up in way more spots than you would like them to, but again, the locations that they do, it's still fitting. I think you basically encounter those stupid heads almost everywhere. Now, those ghosts aren't too intimidating in the sense that they are... Don't know why the enemies sometimes do that, where you kill them and they just launch towards you. But yeah, it's like some of the enemy types are not too intimidating in regards to the fact is that they are melee combatants and they only really work in select environments. Like, these guys are rather slow and although cramped, it's still typically you have enough distance from where you actually spot these guys in order to be able to take them out. And this is where I realized that indeed I am missing the crucial key, and I'm just doing a map check around to see if I can find anything else, but there really isn't anything, so I eventually head back to the mansion. So I kind of screwed up a little bit in not being thorough in the one temple area, but and just missing the key, but otherwise I did manage to make like substantial progress here and don't have to, apart from one brief back and forth, this isn't bad for just a one time from inadvertently missing the key rather than just trying to, just say getting one key and going around and testing everywhere that it might possibly work. One thing I'm just doing is I figure since I'm in the area, I may as well clear this spot out, because once we actually clear out the caves, you know, beyond that locked door, we will be coming out this way. So make the trip that we come back from that route clear, so we don't have nearly as much to deal with. And this is just a little ammo nook. And getting hung up on the trees just a tiny bit. And this here is just a dead end with enemies and some pickups. Not a whole lot, but I figured I'd top off. Then sometimes, yeah, I kind of pop into the map trying to figure out what I'm doing a little bit too prematurely, and thus get shot or attacked by an enemy I didn't catch. So yeah, now I'm just heading back to the mansion because I know that or not really, mansion estate, but I'm just heading back that way, so I figure once I figure in between parts I would save there and figure out where the key that I'm missing is, and then pick up from there. And in my frustration, decided to stab a duck. But also, I was hoping that it would actually drop a healing item for me. It's a little hard to tell, but like I was just scanning around for. Yeah, I was hoping you would have dropped another healing item. So sometimes it's a good idea to actually leave the ducks around. There we go. That's what I was hoping for. I'm not fully topped off, but I'm topped off enough. And I figured going into the kennel to get that huge health would be just a waste of a pickup, as would trying to pick up the hidden health pickup that I showed off earlier by the fountain. So this is where I realized that I need to actually, you know, pause and look for where the key is off screen and then resume once I have found it. So I'll see you in the next one.